श्रीमान वेंकटनाथार्य कवितार्किक केसरी वेदांताचार्य वर्यो मे सन्निधत्तां सदा हृदि श्रीवासरंग परकाल मुनित्रयाप्त लक्ष्मात्मरक्षण इत्युगागमान्तम् आचार्य भक्ति परिपूत मनर्गशीलं गोपाल देशिक मुनिं गुरुमाश्रयामः व्यासं वसिष्ठ नप्तारं शक्ते पौत्रमकल्मषं पराशरात्मजं वन्दे सुखतातं तपोनिधिं व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मनिधये वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः. So last week we had the introduction of Vishnu Sahasramam, just for everyone's benefit, the glories of Vishnu Sahasramam, the Vaibhavam of Vishnu Sahasramam, the greatness of Vishnu Sahasramam. Last week we talked about how it was formed, why it was formed. Bhishma narrated to Yudhishthira for his questions, and that's what we saw. In fact, before getting into the stotram, I wanted to give another kind of anecdote from Kanchi Mahaperiyava's life. Once there was a disciple of Mahaperiyava who went to him and prayed to him, appealed to him that his father, who is quite old, in the ripened old age, he is bedridden and he is in the hospital, and there seems to be no improvement. However, the hospital is doing lot of tests, lot of other things, and so there are a lot of money which is being spent, but there seems to be no improvement. What do I do? So Mahaperiyava said it is natural that the doctor wants to try their best to recover. However, do one thing, why to make him suffer in the hospital, and it also drains your money, wealth. So you bring home your father and then keep a comfortable bed for him, to make sure that there is an assistant helper for him, and give him kanji or the liquid food, whatever the doctor prescribes, and make sure every day in the morning and in the evening you recite Vishnu Sahasranama Stotram in his ears. Whether he listens to it or not is beside the point. You make sure you recite Vishnu Sahasranama Stotram and everything will be fine. And he added, after the person left, he added to the disciples, if somebody is not well, if you recite Vishnu Sahasranama Stotram, it will relieve you of the suffering. The disease will go away. The suffering will go away. Janma mrityu jara vyadi bhayam naivo pajayate. Janma, the birth, mrityu, the death, jara, old age, vyadi, disease, all that bhayam, fear of birth, future birth, fear of death, fear of old age, fear of disease, all will be vanished if you recite Vishnu Sahasranama Stotram. He added, saying that either the disease will get cured or the suffering will be over and he will attain the Sadgati. Because everybody who is born needs to leave one day. It will be a peaceful departure. So, Vishnu Sahasranamam grants us all benefits. In fact, there was one Rama Sharma, a doctor, during Mahaperiyava's time, very well-known doctor. And there were many celebrities who used to go to him. And he was a popular Kairasi doctor. And once Mahaperiyava had illness and he was running high fever for a couple of days. So the Sishyas called Sri Rama Sharma. In fact, it was Mahaperiyava's instruction to the Sishyas to call Rama Sharma. And Rama Sharma came with his paraphernalia, with his box full of medicine and stethoscope and blood pressure apparatus, all that. So when he came, the seer, the guru, told him that you need not have brought all this medicine. I wanted you only to come, not the medicine and the tablet and the stethoscope. He looked quizzically. Why? He said, I wanted to prove to them something, prove to the disciples. So he said, Just a minute, you would have come from the home after doing puja. It's in the morning. I will also take bath and come. The doctor said, you are running high fever. You cannot take bath. He said, no, no, no. He went, he rushed. He took bath. Generally, they don't take bath in hot water. They take bath in cold water. We are supposed to take bath in cold water. He dipped. We are supposed to take bath in cold water, but we don't. We always want warm water, hot water bath, but we will drink cold water from the fridge, and both are against Shastras. So Mahaperiyava came back after taking bath, and he now asked the Dr. Ramasharma to check his temperature, and it was very high fever, about 102. And he said, now don't give me medicine. I wanted to prove to everyone the benefits of Vishnu Sahasramam. It is a panacea for all diseases. So now you and I are going to sit reciting Vishnu Sahasranam. And they both sat down, the doctor and Mahaperiyava, and chanted Vishnu Sahasranam in full. And then he asked him to measure the temperature. And lo behold, there was no fever at all. It was cured. So he wanted to mention that by reciting Vishnu Sahasranam, it will completely cure Achyutananta Govinda Namocharana Bheshajat. Nashyanti Sakala Rogat Satyam Satyam Vadamyaham, says Vedavyasa. Now let's enter into the Vishnu Sahasranama Sloka 61. Sudanva Kanda Parashur Dharuno Dravina Pradaha Divisprik Sarvadrikvyaso Vachaspati Ayonijaha. Sudanva. I will mention first one liner for each nama from 572 to 580, and then we will enjoy briefly the nama. Sudanva, the one who has a splendid dhanus, the bow, the divine bow. Khanda Parashu, one who has the axe, broken axe. Dharunaha, one who destroys the internal enemies and external enemies. One who is merciless to those who deviate from the path of Dharma. Dravina Pradaha, one who is the bestower, the granter of wealth, material wealth, spiritual wealth, the jnanam, everything. Divisprik, one who even touches the Sri Vaikuntham, touches the skies. Divisprik Sarvadrik, one who knows, sees all forms of knowledge. Vyasaha, one who compiled, arranged the Vedas and the Puranas. Vachaspatihi, the master of words. Ayonijaha, the unborn. So that's the one-liner. Let's go into the nama briefly. Sudanva Kanda Parashu Dharuno Dravina Pradaha Divisprik Sarvadrikvyaso Vachaspatirayo Nijaha. Sudhanva, one who has a splendid bow. The commentators have different anubhavams interpreting this nama. Sri Parasara Bhattar, who is the precocious son of Sri Kurattalvan and Shishya of Bhagavad Ramanuja, he gives the fight that ensued between the Devas and the Asuras and the distribution of Amritam to Devas. The resulting demonstration of the splendor of his divine bow in bringing the end of that conflict. Whereas Sri Shankaracharya has referred to in his commentary The great bow in his hand represents his being the controller and supporter of the indriyams, the five senses. Shobhanam indriyadi mayam sharngadanu asya asti iti sudhanva. Even in Vishnu Puranam, the reference is made to the significance of the bow in Perumal's hand. Bhutadim indriyadim cha dvida ahamkaram ishvaraha bibharti samkharupena sarngarupena chastitam. Bhagavan's bow, Dhanus, symbolizes the senses, sense organs. Mai, Vai, Kan, Muk, Shevi. The body, the mouth, the eyes, the ears, all that, nose. And the ahankara, the due to the senses, the awareness, the ego, represented by the sarngam, the divine bow in his hand. So the other verses in Vishnu Puranam continue to describe how Bhagavan is the source and supporter of everything in the universe, as represented by the different ayudams and ornaments of his form. And thus it gives a representation of a way of meditating upon him in the form that are more easy for us to grasp in our mind rather than meditating on an abstract truth. So that is why Sudhanva, Khanda Parashu, he is with the broken axe. It is referred to the Parasurama Avataram. And whereas Jamadagni's son, he punishes his foes, his enemies. Sri Shankaracharya also suggests the Nama can be taken as Akhanda Parashu, he who wields an invincible axe. The Nama being given as Akhanda Parashu in this case. So, Kokula Mannarai Movilgal or Kur Maduval Pokia Devanai Potrum Punidan. Trivaranga Tamudanar mentions in Ramanuja Nutranda, the 56th verse. Darunaha, the one who destroys the internal enemies and external enemies. The one who splits into pieces the enemies, both internal and external. There is a good story, anecdote mentioned by our acharyas. There was a king, and Dharunaha, there was a king. He had 5 ministers. The king was very popular. He conquered the neighborhood states and he became bigger and bigger, popular, famous, good ruler, liked by people. But each minister used to think that it is because of him the king became popular, became famous, became a good ruler. Each one thought. And they used to command the king that you should do my way, you should do that way. Like that. So the king could conquer the external enemies, but not the internal, the one who is with his assembly. So he went and appealed to the Rajaguru. And Rajaguru is an old Vedantic scholar. And so he said, don't worry, I will take care of it. Just tell them to listen to me for a month, for few months. Then the king instructed the ministers to go to Rajaguru, listen to the Rajaguru. So the ministers went and obeyed, prostrated at the Rajaguru, listened to him. The Rajaguru told each one individually. He told the minister number 1, you go out of the kingdom for a month, enjoy the world and come back. He went out, came back after a month, and he asked him, did you see any change in the kingdom? Any change in people? Any change in economy? Nothing. No change. Similarly, one after the other, all 5 went out individually, one by one, came back, said no change. Then he asked the king himself to go out of the kingdom. Step out of the kingdom. he stepped out and all 5 ministers lost their power. They could not function without the king's instruction because nobody would listen to him. Nobody would bother about them when the king himself is not there. So the Rajaguru called him back, called the king back. And now they understood that it is he, the king, who is in control, and it is the Rajaguru who is in control. Why this story for this Daruna? Because the king is none other than the Jivatma, us. The 5 ministers are none other than the 5 senses. Each one trying to think that they are the ones controlling the Jivatma, us, the mind. And they lead us, even though we are able to take care of the society, the neighborhood, the people, the family, we are not able to control our internal enemies, the senses, 5 senses. So we appeal to the Lord, Krishna, who is the indweller inside us, the Rajaguru. Because Krishna is the Pratama Acharya, Prime Acharya. And he, the indweller, the Antaryami, asks each sense organ to realize who they are. When the Jivatma goes out, the senses would be dead. No, it will not function. Whereas even if you lose an eye, even if you lose the hearing, even if you are mute, you can still function. There will be hardly any impact on the Atma, Jivatma, on our functioning. So that is why Bhattar's Vyakhyanam says he splits and destroys the enemies, both internal and external. Darunaha. Shankaracharya Vyakhyanam says he who is harsh and merciless towards those who follow the evil path. When he punishes anyone, it is the ultimate good for the one who is being punished. Up to a point, the Lord is all Daya, all Kripalu. But when he finds out that no other method can save the individual, like a surgeon in the operation theater, he appears to be relentless, merciless in fixing the problem by giving punishments, minor, for those who performed Sharanagati. Dravina Pradaha, from the 575 up to 580, Bhattar Vyakhyanam refers to Veda Vyasa, the Vyasa Maharishi. It is supposed to refer to the Vyasa Maharishi. But how can the Vishnu Sahasramam, which is compiled by Veda Vyasa, which is part of Mahabharata, which is uttered by Bhishma to Yudhishthira, can refer to Vyasa? We wonder, isn't it weird to talk about self-praise by Veda Vyasa himself? It's not. Veda Vyasa is the one who bestows us, who blesses us with the jnana, with the wealth. The thing is, he is the one who blesses us with the compilation of Vedas, writing the Puranas, blessing us with the Mahabharatam, blessing us with the Upanishadic statement as Brahma Sutram, one-liners as the Sutram. So Vyasaya Vishnu Rupaya Vyasa Rupaya Vishnave. Vyasa is none other than the Amsam of Vishnu himself. Absolutely, Vyasa thanks and is so grateful that I am who I am because of the Kripa of Mahavishnu, Sriman Narayana. And hence, he accepts him being referred to as the bestower of jnana because of being blessed by Sriman Narayana. Just like us who have covered so far 60 slokams of Vishnu Sahasranamam, in spite of Adiyan's lack of jnanam, proficiency in Tamil, in English, in Sanskrit, regardless of that, it is Acharya Kripa, it is Bhagavad Anugraham, Divya Dampati Anugraham, that we are able to reach this. And we would continue because of their grace. So here, Vyasa, the Dhyana Slokam of Vyasa is Vaganvai Vamahastena sarva sastrartha samshayam. Dakshinena cha sastrarthan adisamscha yata stitan. Vyasa holds in his left hand the collection of all shastras and their commentaries, the Vyakhyanam, and propounds by his right hand the Upadesa Mudra, the true essence of all shastras. Even Nammalvar calls Bhagavan as Panvudai Vedam Parandapayan in Thiruvaimali. So it is the Vyasa, the wealth in the form of Sastrams. The wealth is not material wealth, Laukika Jnana. Here, wealth, we think that money, house, car, condo, credit card. That's not. That reminds me, once a king, he lost his way in a hunting, and along with his army people, he went into the forest, and there were wild elephants that came and crushed his army, and somehow the king escaped, but lost his way, came to some other village where he was found unconscious, looking for food, water, and three people picked him up and saved his life. So when he was woken up, when he got consciousness, he realized that these three helped him, and he said, I am the king, I will give you whatever that you want for your help, for giving back my life to me. And they sent a message to the kingdom to bring a chariot for the king, and the king was to go. And that time, these three people said, one said, I would like to have a bag of gold coins so that I would live happily ever after. So the king arranged to give him a bag of gold coin, say 1,000 coins. He expected some 10 or 20 or 100 bahts, but he got 1,000 gold coins and he was extremely thrilled. The number one left. The second one asked, I would like to have a palace as big as yours in my village. So he arranged to build that. So he lived happily in that palace. The third one, number three, friend who helped along with the other two, he said, I just would like to learn in school because I'm an illiterate person and I want to learn. So the minister who came in the chariot, he said, our prince is studying now. He just began his studies. So he can study under the Rajaguru also along with our prince. So they arranged the prince and this fellow to study together. After about 10 years, 12 years, this number three person, he finished his studies, came back, and the Rajaguru said, you have learned the worldly education, Laukika Jnana. And the prince was very happy. Prince became the king and he arranged this number three guy to become his chief minister. Whereas the other guy who had his gold coins spent everything. The guy who had the huge palace, the palace he could not maintain. He didn't have money to maintain the palace. So he also lost. They were looking for alms and survival. And when they came back to the kingdom to seek help, they met his friend who is the chief minister. And the chief minister, finally, the number three friend, he wanted to learn Vedantic Jnana, Shastra Jnana from the Rajaguru. So, what does it say here? It is the bestower of wealth. Wealth here is not ordinary wealth. It is the absolute spiritual wealth, the Vedantic Jnana. Katradhanal aya payanenkol valarivan natral thola ar enin, Thiruvalluvar says. What is the use of education if you do not prostrate or pay your obeisance to the lotus feet of the Lord? Katradhanal aya payanenkol, what is the use of education? What is the use of PhD and physics and masters and engineering if you do not realize the way to get rid of the samsara sagaram, samsaric afflictions? And Vyasa is the one who blessed all of us with that jnana. And he never thought that people would talk about me, they will worship me, they will praise me. He didn't do because of that. He just wanted to help the community, humanity. Because he was Vishnu Amsa, Divisprik, one who touches the sky, means through his jnanam he can reach Sri Vaikuntha by his not being not only in the form of the universe but far beyond it. In his Trivikrama Avataram, he is the one who measured the universe. There are very meanings of this Divisprik, one who touches the Sri Vaikuntha, the skies. Him being the Antaryami even for the sun, the planets, the moon, everyone. Here, Parasara Bhattar represents this Nama as referring to the unbounded extent of his knowledge. The one who could even perceive Sri Vaikuntham, Vyasa. There was another anecdote which is interesting, and there was once Adi Shankara who wrote the Shankara Bhashyam of Brahma Sutra. And after he wrote the Brahma Sutra Shankara Bhashyam, it was one old sage appeared in front of him and asked him few questions or doubts of his Brahma Sutra Bhashyam. And it was like a debate, sadas, vivadam between them. And the questions were tough, the answers were equally wonderful. And one of Adi Shankara's Shishya by name Padmapadar, who was Nrsimha Upasakar, who was a devotee, great, ardent, intense devotee of Lord Nrsimha. So he could visualize and see this old man as none other than Sri Mahavishnu Narayana himself, who appeared as Vedavyasa and who came in the guise of old man without being seen by Adi Shankara as Vedavyasa or Mahavishnu. But Padmapada could see because of his devotion. And he mentioned that what is this use? Why he immediately prostrated at the old man's feet. He said, Shankara Sakshat, Vyaso Narayana Swayam, Sayor Vivade Samprapte, Kinkaromi Aham. This Shankara, Adi Shankara, is none other than Sakshat Shankara himself, Shivan himself, who took the avataram as Adi Shankara to establish the Veda Margam, because people were having Sunyavadam. They were saying Veda is nothing, zero, there is no Veda, all that Buddhism were prevalent, and he came to establish the Vedic Margam. Vyaso Narayana Swayam. Vyasa is none other than Narayana himself. So when there is a vivadam between Shankara and Narayana, Sayor Vivade Samprapte, Kinkaromi Aham, this humble servant, Kinkaran, what will he do? Kinkaromi Aham, what will I do? Just pray, pay obeisance to, pay namaskarams to, that's all. And that is what he mentioned. So Divisprik, one who even perceives. Here Vedavyasa perceived Padmapada's mind. He knew that Padmapada realized who Vedavyasa was, and hence he showed himself to his devotee Narayana Swarupa. Whereas he hid himself to Adi Shankara, and that is why he could see. He could see, visualize Sriman Narayana as the Paratattva, as the Sri Vaikunthanathan, as the indweller in everyone and every being. He could visualize everything. Sriman Narayana does not mean that he is the one with the Sankha Chakram and the Chaturbhujam, 4 hands, and sitting in Sri Vaikuntha. Narayana's Tirumeni, the form, Divyamangala Vigraham, is that. Whereas Narayana means the one who is housed in everything and everyone, inside and outside. Antarbahishchatas sarva vyapya narayana stitaha. There is also an interpretation of this name, is universal form, Vishwarupam, to Arjuna as Divisprik. So that is then Sarvadrik, the all-seer, he who sees everything, the totality of Paratattva, one who is in the form of Jnanam of all forms, he who is the creator of all forms that can see under different conditions, all-seer. And that is Vedavyasa. Vedavyasa has blessed us with Mahabharata. And Mahabharatam is the fifth Veda, is the essence of all Veda Sastras. Dharmecha, Artecha, Kamecha, Mokshecha, Bharatarshapa. Yati hasti tadanyatra yenne hasti na tat kvachit. Na tat kvachit. All that can be found in Mahabharata from the field of Dharmam, Artham, Kamam, Moksha. Aram, Porul, Inbam, Veed, which is nothing but ethics, the material, economic, whatever development, Kamam, the desire, the Moksha, the pleasure, and the liberation, the Moksha. And all that can be found in Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksham can be found elsewhere. And what is not in Mahabharatam cannot be found anywhere else, because Mahabharatam has got everything that you need. Such a wonderful essence, Mahabharatam. And that essence of Mahabharatam is Vishnu Sahasramam. Sarvadrish. Sarvadrik, Sarvadrik. Sarvadrik means jnana, knowledge. He who is in the form of knowledge. Even the ants can smell very far away. Birds can hear from a long distance. The camel can drink water and store for a few weeks. Perumal has spread himself in the universe in diverse forms which are endowed with bodies to suit their different conditions. Bhagavan has created all the different creations that can see in water, can see in under the water, in air, in space, even in darkness. And Vyasaha. Vyasa means the arranger, the compiler, one who has arranged the Vedas into 4 divisions, the Puranas into 18. Vyasa. Bhattar mentions that Bhagavan divided the Veda that was originally in single form into its 4 divisions, Rig, Yajus, Sama, Atharva. He has the name Vyasa. Vyasa means one who compiles. This was done by Bhagavan in his incarnation as Vyasa, just to make it easier for people whose knowledge diminishes in accordance with the changes of the 4 yugas. Vyasaya Vishnu Rupaya Vyasa Rupaya Vishnave. Shankaracharya gives the interpretation in terms of the division of the Vedas and refers to the division of the Puranas. Vyasa. Then we have the next name Vachaspati, the master of words. Sri Bhattar interprets the current occurrence as referring to Vyasa's authorship of Mahabharata. He is the master of words which are in the form of the 5th Veda, Mahabharata. Uraikindra Munivarum Yane, in Trivayamani Nammalvar says. Vacho Vidyaya Pati Vachaspatihi, Shankaracharya says, master of all learning is Vedavyasa. One who has mastered the words and who also does not waste words. There is no excessive word in his Vyakyanam, in his commentary, in his work. One who is eloquent in championing the supreme words. Also Gita Acharya. Ayonijaha, the unknown, the unborn. Parasara Bhatta's interpretation is the current group of namas referring to Vyasa incarnation, and he explained the current nama as referring to Vyasa as being created out of sound by Bhagavan as Saraswata. In Mahabharatam Shanti Parvam it says, Ata bhuyo jagat srishtva bo shabdena anuvadayan Saraswatim uchachara tatra saraswato bhavat. So பிறப்பொரு மூப்பு ஒன்றில்லாதவன், பிறப்போடு மூப்பு ஒன்றில்லாதவன். Bhagavan created the sun. We can only perceive that the sun was not born like other normal humans or devas. It is easy to perceive that Bhagavan is Ayonijaha. And we can also mix this word Vachaspatir Ayonijaha, he who is the master of the words and who is unborn. Such a beautiful way the Vyakyanams are done for these namas. Kavitarkika Simhaya Kalyana Gunashaline Srimate Venkatesaya Vedanta Gurave Namaha. Dhanyavasmi.